So Namoki are a brand that offer mod parts for your Seiko products, for your Seiko SKX and a few other model numbers. Also, they offer fully assembled watches. This is their Submariner Homage, like a vintage Submariner Homage, but it's more of a vintage and modern homage. So you get that bezel that looks somewhat vintage, but it's made out of ceramic. It's also a 41mm case, but at the same time, you have a lot of different elements that aren't very similar to a Submariner. We'll get into it right now. So a lot of the parts on this watch are interchangeable with an SKX, obviously the movement, because you get an NH35 inside, but you could actually take the dial off of this and put your SKX dial on this watch if you wanted to. And I believe you could also put a 6R movement into this watch if you wanted to. So like I said, you get a ceramic bezel with white indices, and then you have that red triangle with a pip at the top. That gives it that vintage look. And then of course the dial is sort of vintage Rolex, but at the same time, not entirely. You have a slightly elongated triangle at the top. Then you have the Namoki logo. You have a sword hand for the hour, fence post for the minute, and then a arrow for the second hand. So 3 different hands on here, but I think they actually work pretty well together. Then down below, above the 6 o'clock index, it just says 600 feet, 200 meters, and automatic. That's it. And of course, pretty good bezel action on here. Reminds me a lot of what you get from Seiko. Reminds me a lot of what you get from an SKX. Now, I would imagine that this bezel is interchangeable with an SKX. I'm not 100% sure of that. If I am wrong, I will put a comment down below, but I believe it is. So you could actually use an SKX bezel on this watch and bezel inserts. You have a domed sapphire crystal, screwed in crown, 200 meters of water resistance, as I mentioned. And of course, you have a Rolex style case. Again, this is a case that you can buy from them and use with your SKX. So if you want to take the movement and dial and hands out of your SKX, put it into this, you would use their crown. That's it. So you do have a big screwed in crown here. Very thick case. So this is a thick case. We'll do measurements in just a few seconds. So it is substantial. And then you have a solid end link, oyster style bracelet with screwed links and somewhat of a typical micro brand buckle. As you can see, with 3 positions of micro adjust. So this is kind of very typical of a micro brand, but again, this is sort of a mod kit that comes put together for you, so that's how they did it. And then you have a screwed in case back that is sterile and polished. That has nothing on it whatsoever. Very, again, in keeping with Rolex, but different from Rolex, obviously, because it's a screwed in case back. And I mean, Rolex is screwed in case back as well, but the system is different. Obviously, they have notches on the back of here. So that's the difference there. That's really it. SKX screwed in crown, works like an SKX. You have a date at 3 o'clock, unscrew the crown, it pops out, hacks, hand winds, and you have the date. Very, very nice watch, especially if you like Rolex and you plan on modding your watch. What they also sent along is this dial. This is a gorgeous dial. I'm actually going to put down the watch so you could see what I'm talking about. This is a translucent dial that has lume applied to it, and it's a lot of lume. And this dial will fit this watch, and it'll also fit an SKX. This is one of the coolest dials that I think I've ever seen for a SKX, or like from a modder at least. And I'm gonna have to touch it here, but it came packaged. I just took it out of the package for this video. You can see here, it is translucent. You can see that, right? And it is fully lumed. Now, it's not fully lumed, but everything that you see on the dial is fully lumed. It's a limited edition dial too. So I will do a lume shot towards the end so you can see how that is lumed. Really cool. Let me show you the watch that I have on my wrist. Then I'll throw this watch on my wrist right after I do measurements, and then we'll talk about price. As I mentioned, this is a 41mm watch. So it's 41.2. At the case though, it's about 40mm. So if you measure it at the case, it's 40mm. Thickness on here is a pretty thick 15mm thick. I think on their website they say 16mm. I measure 15. Big crown, 6.8mm. And then of course the lug to lug is just about 47.3, but you do get male end links on here. So that means the effective lug to lug is 51.3, 51.4, depending on where you grab it. So that's it. So it will wear big on your wrist, 15 millimeters thick. 200 meter dive watch is very, very thick. So this is gonna wear very chunky. Very quickly, today I have on the Bel Canto. This is a watch that I have been wearing from Christopher Ward since it arrived, and just a really interesting, very cool watch. Makes a chime on the hour. A lot of people excited about that watch, especially me. So there you go. Now this does not wear uncomfortably on my 7.5 inch wrist. I do wish that this was a little, just a little bit thinner, because it would look really good a little bit thinner, but I think it looks really good as is. Obviously inspired a lot by Rolex, but the fact that you could swap out parts with your SKX is kind of cool. And I actually think these cases look amazing with a Seiko dial. So I think that's the reason why they kind of do this, so that you could swap it out for a dial like this if you wanted to, change the look, do whatever you want with the watch. So I think eventually that's what I'll probably do with this, or I might just put this on my my SKX and you can see the movement through the dial, which will really pretty cool, I think. Anyway, very quickly, a lume shot, and then we'll wrap up the video, and I'm gonna throw this in for the lume shot because I wanna see the lume on here. I want you guys to see it. I've already seen it and it looks amazing. Well, there you go. Lume is excellent on here. So the indices very liberally applied with lume, hands liberally applied with lume. You have that pip, also very liberally applied with lume. Very, very good. By the way, the price on this is $363. I think that's the price. I think they also give you 10% off if you sign up with an email or something like that. So something to consider. So it might be a little bit cheaper than, I believe that's what they do on their website. So definitely check them out and sign up, and you get a little bit of extra off, I believe. So definitely check that out. Anyway, really cool watch. Obviously a really interesting homage, a take on an homage to a Submariner. And then of course, here is the fully loomed, or loomed dial, not fully loomed. I keep on saying that, but it's not really fully loomed. Even the logo is loomed, the limited edition, everything is loomed on there. It looks phenomenal. It's a very weird looking, almost like matrix dial. I really like it. And I think this will look good on an SKX or even this watch. It'll look very, very interesting. It has a date window, so it's for an NH35. So any NH35 will fit this pretty cool dial. Anyway, guys, tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of this dial and what namokiMODS are doing? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.